What if you could look back at your life and see all the mistakes, the missed opportunities, and the lessons you learned far too late? What if you had the wisdom to avoid these pitfalls before they happened? Ancient Chinese philosophers, men like Confucius, Lao Tzu, and Zhuangzi, understood that the greatest lessons in life often come from painful experience. But their teachings offer a rare gift, the opportunity to learn these lessons without having to suffer through the mistakes yourself. Confucius once said, "By three methods we may learn wisdom. First, by reflection, which is noblest. Second, by imitation, which is easiest. And third, by experience, which is the bitterest." And it's this third method, experience, that most men rely on to learn life's most profound truths. But what if we didn't have to wait for life to teach us these lessons the hard way? What if we could learn from the wisdom of those who came before us? The first lesson men often learn too late is the value of self-discipline. In his teachings, Confucius stressed the importance of cultivating personal integrity and discipline. He believed that a man's character was defined not by what he achieved, but by how he conducted himself along the way. Discipline, in Confucius's view, wasn't just about control, it was about freedom. The freedom to pursue your highest goals without being distracted by lesser desires. The freedom to stay true to your principles, even when it's difficult. But how many men go through life chasing short-term pleasures, only to realize too late that they've sacrificed their long-term happiness in the process? Self-discipline is a lesson most men learn the hard way, when they've already paid the price for their lack of control. By embracing this principle early on, men can avoid the regrets that come with a life lived in pursuit of fleeting pleasures. Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism, offered a different perspective, but one that complements Confucius's teachings. Lao Tzu taught the value of letting go, of understanding that the more you try to control life, the more it slips through your fingers. His famous saying, "He who knows that enough is enough will always have enough," speaks to a lesson men often learn too late in life, the futility of endless ambition. In our youth, we're often driven by a need to achieve, to accumulate, to be seen as successful by society's standards. But Lao Tzu reminds us that true contentment doesn't come from having more, it comes from being satisfied with what we already have. How many men spend their entire lives climbing the ladder of success, only to find at the top that the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall? They've gained wealth, power, and status, but they've lost their peace, their relationships, and their sense of self. Zhuangzi, another great Chinese philosopher, expands on this idea with his teachings about the nature of reality and perception. He challenges the very concept of success and failure, teaching that life is not as black and white as we often believe. Zhuangzi's famous parable of the butterfly dream, where he questions whether he is a man dreaming he is a butterfly or a butterfly dreaming he is a man, teaches us that life's distinctions are often illusions. Men often spend too much of their lives caught up in external definitions of success, failing to realize that happiness and fulfillment come from within. Zhuangzi teaches us that true freedom lies in detaching from society's expectations and following our own path. But how many men only come to this realization after years of chasing other people's dreams? How many men wake up one day and realize they've been living a life that wasn't truly theirs? One of the greatest lessons these ancient Chinese philosophers impart is the importance of balance. Confucius, Lao Tzu, and Zhuangzi all emphasize the need for harmony not just in the external world, but within ourselves. Balance between ambition and contentment, between control and letting go, between action and reflection. Men, especially in the prime of their lives, often tip too far in one direction, believing that success requires single-minded focus and relentless effort. But the wisdom of these philosophers teaches us that too much of anything, even ambition, can lead to imbalance and ultimately dissatisfaction. Lao Tzu's teachings about Wu Wei, or effortless action, remind us that sometimes the most powerful action is non-action. It's about flowing with life rather than constantly fighting against it. Men learn this lesson far too late, often after years of burnout and stress, when they realize that the path to success could have been much easier if they had only trusted in the natural flow of life. Confucius also spoke about the importance of relationships and the role they play in our happiness. He taught that the quality of a man's life is deeply connected to the quality of his relationships with his family, his friends, and his community. Yet, how many men prioritize their careers, their ambitions, and their personal desires over the relationships that truly matter? It's only later in life, when the career has slowed down and the ambitions have faded, that many men realize they've neglected the people who were there for them all along. Confucius said, "To practice 5 things under all circumstances constitutes perfect virtue. These 5 are gravity, generosity of soul, sincerity, earnestness, and kindness. These virtues are the foundation of strong relationships." But too often, men only begin to value these qualities after they've damaged or lost relationships that could have enriched their lives. Another life lesson men learn too late is the importance of reflection. The ancient Chinese philosophers were big advocates of taking time to reflect on life, to learn from both success and failure. In today's fast-paced world, men often don't stop to reflect until they're forced to, usually when life throws them a major challenge, like a health scare, a failed relationship, or a career setback. But reflection doesn't have to come only after a crisis. It can be a daily practice that helps you stay grounded, focused, and aware of what truly matters. The teachings of these ancient Chinese philosophers remind us that life is not a race. It's not about achieving as much as possible as quickly as possible. It's about living with purpose, with balance, and with awareness. It's about recognizing that success isn't just about external accomplishments, but about how you live your life each day. Men often learn these lessons too late, after they've spent years focused on the wrong things. But the wisdom of Confucius, Lao Tzu, and Zhuangzi offers us a different path, one where we can learn from their insights and avoid the mistakes that come from living without reflection, balance, or connection. So, what are the lessons you don't want to learn too late? Learn to balance your ambition with contentment. Learn to value your relationships as much as your career. Learn to let go of control and trust in the flow of life. And most importantly, learn to reflect on your life regularly, so that when you look back, you don't see regrets, you see a life well lived.